All right, so we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the CAS 360 Singapore Level 1 training session. My name is Jennifer, Account Manager for Singapore, and I will be your trainer for today's Level 1 session to help you with your knowledge and your adoption journey with CAS 360. So, a very quick housekeeping matter, I'll be posting the manual of today's training, the level 1, on your webinar chat. So if you want to access through these manual, which will also be showing along the training session, kindly refer to your webinar chat. This session is recorded and all attendees will be on mute. If you have any question, kindly post your questions on the Q&A section of your Zoom toolbar. All right. So in today's session, we're going to cover the fundamentals topics in CAS 360, or the basic tools and the core tools in the software, which includes getting started with CAS 360, will help you understand and navigate along your software, which includes learning how to sign in to your software, your navigation toolbar that can be found on the main dashboard. We're also going to cover on the topic on Resource Hub, which helps you to get more informations or log your support chat within your system. Also in this getting started lesson number 1, we'll learn on how to subscribe for an email notifications from CAS 360 by our email subscription tool within the software, setting up the registered filing agents, and also how to invite other users onto your software as well. So in lesson number 2, we'll cover on loading companies, which will include company registrations. So this company registration, we have these available in CAS 360 that allows you to process the company registration for a company. And this includes preparing your pre-incorporation documents and post-incorporation documents. We're also going to learn how to import a company from Accra onto CAS 360 using our search registry import tool. In lesson number 3, we'll cover more on company changes. So we have different types of company changes available in the software, which includes your company address change. And we're going to learn how to change your location of the registered cap if you are required to update the location of the registers, and also navigating your contacts and addresses. Lesson number 4 will cover on your officer changes. We will prepare different basic changes, which includes appointing an officer, resignation of an officer, and also along the way, we will go through how to repeat a company change documents within the software, and also adding a bank account information, which effectively has to do with your lesson number 2, which is your post-incorporation documents. In your lesson number 5, we'll cover on the members changes. So we have different kinds of share transaction available in the software, which includes your allotments of shares, transfer of shares, and also processing nominee shareholders and registrable controllers. As we go along in this topic, we're also going to show you a feature called automated document deadline reminders, and also document review that you can use within the processing of the documents. In your topic number 6, we'll go through on the company name change and how do we prepare the necessary documents and resolution. And lastly, your documents. So we have 2 types of documents, where all the documents are stored when you export or send it directly to your client via CAS 360. These can be stored within your global documents and also on the company documents. So I'm just going to quickly switch over here. and go through. So before I start, I just want to quickly share to you again that these manual for the level 1 can be found on the webinar chat. So if you want to access or also click onto the various contents, you can simply scroll over and this will bring you to the specific content as well. So in your lesson number 1, we're going to cover on getting started in CAS 360. So we'll learn how to first sign into the software. And once you sign in, what are the items and the dashboard will look like, and these different navigations in your software. So going to my tab over here, so I've already got my login link. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the link that you're supposed to log into, I will copy and save this and share this to our webinar chat. So I would highly recommend you to bookmark this link so that's easy for you to access into this login page for CAS 360. So when you go into this link, this will bring you to the main login page of the software, and your username will be your email address, and password will be based on your MyBGL. So when you first purchase the software, you will essentially receive a welcome to MyBGL email that will prompt you to set up your password onto both MyBGL portal and onto CAS 360. Your username and password for MyBGL is the same username for accessing your CAS 360 software. So once you've set that up, just simply click on sign in. And essentially, it will bring you to the main dashboard. Here, I've got multiple multiple firms, or I have different companies under me. So that's why this brings me to this page. But by default, if you only have one CAS 360 software account, it will automatically bring you to the main dashboard of the software. So once you've logged in, this will bring you to the main dashboard of CAS 360. So I want you to put your attention on to your left-hand side of the screen. So on the screen, you've got over here what we call the navigation toolbar. So navigation toolbar is where you can find all the major features and processes within the software, whether it's managing your contacts, for example, or the list of companies, your upcoming annual returns. You've also got free-form documents that you have created, documents that has been exported out or prepared within the software, messages, whether it's sending an email or sending documents directly from the software to your client, or any other third-party messages from integration with digital signing, different types of company reports under a report, and settings. So settings will have different where you can adjust your lodgement agent settings, document templates, email templates, and automated reminders, which are your AGM and annual returns. So this one will cover this on Thursday. But generally, I just wanted to show to you what is this navigation all about. So as you click onto each of the major or the core navigation tool, you will see that there are different tab systems as well that allows you to select the kind of process or transaction that you like. So for example, in the company main page over here, I've got company selection, which allows me to show all the companies that I'm managing, and I can simply enter also to the company's profile by simply selecting the company that I want to work on. So similarly, in your contacts, over here, you've got your global contacts. If you want to, let's say, amend a particular contact, You can simply select that contact and you will see all the information of the contact. So in each of these, you will have different tab system to select and process the necessary company changes and documentations or data managements that required to do in CAS 360. So that is your navigation toolbar. So on the top right corner of the screen right over here is what we call the resource hub. So in the resource hub, this is where you can access to different types of resources, which includes access to CAS 360 Singapore Help Guide. You'll also be able to send a feedback by clicking on our feedback button. We also have a community page, which allows you to watch all our past or historical webinars that we've done on specific topics. For example, over here, we've got document email customizations. You can still access this recording from our past webinars. And in the Resource Hub, you are also able to log in a live chat. So if you need assistance in particular features within the software, you can simply type in your questions and our AI chatbot will recommend you articles. And also if you want to speak to a particular live chat person, you can simply click on talk to human. Now we have also done a couple of updates for our support chat as well. If you have some informations that, or let's say a recording or a screenshot of the errors or issues that you're facing, you can simply upload that document into the live chat box as well. Similarly, we do have another tool where you can log a support. If you do not wish to use our live chat, you can also click onto our support. When you're facing any errors, for example, or some how-to questions onto CAS 360, what you can simply do is type in your question. So for example, if it's something that has to do with AGM, you can type in your keyword, click search, and this will recommend you the articles pertaining to your keyword search. If you're unable to find the article or content pertaining to your question, you can simply click on log a support call. And this where you can log your support query. For example, I would like to know how to generate AGM, for example. And if, for example, is something to do with an error, let's say I'm facing an issue. Let's say you're facing some error message within the software, you can simply screenshot that or provide the error number. And if you have a screenshot, it's best to upload that supporting document, supporting screenshot, so that the more information we get received from you when you're facing error, the better we can investigate your query as well. So you can filter also your problem statement if whether it's something that has to do with an agent form, documents, and so on. You can select what type of problem statement do you have. And automatically, based on your email address, you will receive a support ticket as well onto the CAS 360. So this is how we log in a support ticket. If you need some help with your errors or how-tos and you want to connect with our support team for your queries as well. Next that I want to go through in your resource hub is this very important icon over here called our help guide. So when you're first starting with the software, there are a lot of things, a lot of features that we offer within the tool itself. And it can be quite overwhelming. So in order for you to help, what are some of the how-to's features or to explore more the features that the software can offer, I would highly recommend you to explore our help guide and select Singapore Help. Now in Singapore Help, you can find also all the articles pertaining to the features that Singapore CAS 360 Singapore software has to offer. And we also post our software updates that we released out every alternate quarters. If you've missed out the latest feature update from last week, for example, and you want to know what was released out for the software, you can simply click on the new features, select the particular date. It will show to you what were the core changes within the software, and also what are the software update that was released out for each jurisdiction. So that's how we navigate in your new features. So I'm going back to CAS 360 support guide. So this is a very useful tool, or rather resources when you're first starting with the software. So you can get information like getting started. If you are from desktop to 360 previously and you want to migrate, we do have articles on that. Features like your AIM CDD, your BGL, and so on. If you want to explore more on different types of company changes available in CAS 360, you can simply click on to company changes, and this will list out to you what are the different company changes available within the software. So for example, if you want to find out how to process a data protection officer for that particular company, you can simply click on to the article. This will give you a bit of an overview of what is this particular feature and how do we process this particular documentation for the company within CAS 360. So this is very easily accessible within the software. Again, the reminder, you can find it in the help, but also would like to encourage you to bookmark this particular link as well, in case you wanted to save it into your bookmark and easily accessible when you want to find out more how-tos within the software. All right. So before I proceed, any questions so far within our resource hub? All right. Now going back to here to our resource hub. So you can see on the top right corner over here, all right, next to all these resources, we also have this icon here. This is a very important icon we call the app switcher. So app switcher allows you to switch between your MyBGL portal integration if you are integrating your digital signing onto CAS 360, a learning channel, which is where you'll be able to download your training certificates later on after the trainings, and also managing your users. If you are a main administrator of CAS 360, or what we call the account owner, you have the ability to invite other users to log in onto both My BGL portal and CAS 360. So before going through the topic on inviting the other users, so I want to just quickly go through these particular portal over here called My BGL. So essentially, this will bring you to the bgl.360.com. This is the main page. Again, similarly, this will your username and password will be what you have set up when you first receive your welcome to my BGL email. And upon logging in, it will bring you to the main page. So in your My BGL, you will see your name, your username. If you are the main administrator or an account owner, you will see that you'll label as an account owner. This is a very important page, especially if your company is going through some administrative or internal changes, whether, let's say, the main administrator has left the company or you want to hand it over to another person, you can change the administrator by clicking on the Change Account Owner within your MyBGL portal. You'll also be able to update any changes of the company's information if the billing informations have changed. If you change your office address, you can simply update that within your MyBGL portal. MyBGL portal is actually your administrative tool that you can find to help you manage your software licenses with BGL, whether it's your CAS 360 or, for example, we do have another tool called Smart Docs. You will be able to see, navigate or manage that within the MyBGL portal. So on the left-hand side, you can see we've got your billings. So billing section is where you'll find your renewal invoices, or if you're using our paid services like your search registry Accra imports, or if you're using our if you're exploring or using our email BGL ID tool, all the invoices will be saved in your billing section. So the MyBGL portal allows you to seamlessly process any backend administrative part of your license, whether it's your paying your bills for CAS 360 or even updating your license. You can simply do that within the MyBGL portal. So here on the sections under products, if you wish to upgrade to more company license, for example, you can simply click on upgrade. If you're facing, for example, these, because this is a demo product, so I can't upgrade. But sometimes if, let's say, you click on upgrade and you get a notification, you can simply reach out to me on that as well. But essentially, these are very good way for you to quickly upgrade your license if you need to upgrade your license to more slots along the way. Payment details on the left-hand side over here. This is particularly important, especially when you want to use our tool like your Search Accra Import. As you know that this tool is a paid service tool which allows you to purchase business profile directly from Accra onto CAS 360. In order for you to enable this feature, you need to make sure to set up your payment method first, just like in other software where you are required to add in your payment method before they will enable you to use that paid services feature. So this can be set up under your MyBGL portal payment details. Most importantly, this part over here, as a new users of the software, or if you have a new member in your team that hasn't been using the software, or this is the first time they're using, this is what we highly recommend you to ask your team members to register for, so that they can register for upcoming trainings. CAS 360 Level 1 and Level 2 trainings are complimentary free trainings for Singapore, exclusively for Singapore. So I would highly recommend you to use these resources as much as possible so that you can be up to date and really make the most out of the software. So I'm gonna just show to you how to register within the My BGL portal. If you are new or if you want another staff member, simply click on training, click web, click continue, and select. So we have, if you haven't selected or haven't registered for the level 2 session, you can easily register it under our My BGL portal training section as well. So this is our My BGL portal. All right, so if you have any questions, a quick one, if you have any questions, kindly post the Q&A section. All right, so our help desk is not 24 hours. You do work on this 9 to 5 timings. You do have, although if you do post your questions, it will create a support ticket for you if you don't have any response for it. So going back to my software, so within this tech software itself, rather the portal itself, you can go back straight to the software CAS 360 by again going to your app switcher and selecting CAS 360. Now, a very quick tip to know if you have access to the software or My BGL is if you are able to see the icon. If, for example, your username, you log into My BGL, but you cannot see CAS 360, this means that your account owner hasn't invited you to access to the software. So make sure to prompt your account owner to invite you to the software as well. Similarly, if I were to go to my CAS 360 software, and let's say I have already access to the software, but I don't have access to My BGL portal, these icon over here will not display in your app switcher. So if it doesn't show up into your app switcher, kindly flag this to your account owner to invite you to My BGL portal so that you don't miss out on any upcoming trainings if you wish to attend for another training sessions. All right. So any questions so far with the app switcher? All right. If there's no questions, I'm going to go back to CAS 360 and main dashboard over here. Now, I've covered the topic on our feature app switcher and the resource hub. So I'm going to talk more about very powerful tools as well within the main dashboard. So when you log in onto CAS 360, you will see this item over here, what we call the global search function. The global search function allows you to search for companies, documents, or even contacts easily within your software, so it's easily accessible. So for example, if I want to search for CAS Singapore company, you can see that I don't have that. So if I type in a company and I try to search it within my list, if it cannot locate any record of these based on a search keyword search, it means they don't have the record here. We don't have that company. So this is an example of record that we have in my CAS 360. So I've got a company over here, which is CAS 360 Singapore. I've also have a contact. This is a corporate contact stored in my contact. By selecting these, this will automatically bring me to my company details. This is the fast way to navigate. If you want to work on a specific company, for example, you can simply type in the company name, and this will bring you immediately to the company profile. Similarly, if you're searching for, let's say, a contact, right over here, you can see it will show me the individual's contact. And this will bring me automatically to the profile of that contact. So if, for example, you have a, let's say, contact, let's say DBS contact, again, this will bring you automatically into the contacts profile. So earlier on, when we were searching for these, this based on this keyword, you can see that we had um, two records of CAS 360 Singapore over here. So the difference between these is this is the company that you are managing. This is the your clients, all full information, whereas CAS 360 Singapore is simply a contact stored into your address book. All right. So that's the difference. So you're not managing, you don't have any documents for here, for example, there's no company changes. It's just simply a contact information. Whereas earlier on, these ones, CAS 360 Singapore, it's the company with all your compliance information that you're providing for this client. So that's for global search. Now, also something to highlight as well, when you're navigating into the software, you will notice what we call advanced filters. So each of the tools you can see we have filters that allows you to filter the features based on your needs. So for example, in my company page, you can see that you have the ability to filter based on the jurisdiction. And you can see that it will also automatically filters the alerts that's available that's to Singapore specific only companies. So similarly in the context over here, we had a filter available for you. Do you want to filter based on individual, a corporate record, on a contact, and so on. So each of these will have filters that you can help you filter through based on your need. Right, so that is the main dashboard in CAS 360. All right, and navigating within your navigation toolbar and also your resource hub. All right. So next thing I want to cover is how do we invite how do we subscribe for a notification or email notification? So in your resource hub right over here, if you notice, you've got this bell icon on the top. So these notification system will send you notification based on all the communication or all the alerts within third party integrated within CAS 360. So at the moment, the only the integrations that we have at the moment within the software is the digital signing, which is your DocuSign and Adobe Sign and Fuse Sign. So I'll cover this topic a little bit more on level 2 session. But essentially, all your alerts from DocuSigns, digital signing will appear in your notification. And also, these ones you can also filter whether you have all the alerts or all the unread alerts. By clicking on view, this will bring you specifically to the alert that you have selected. You can also, if you want to mark them all as marked read, you can just think as marked read. And you'll see that your bell icon will be empty. So your notification is actually linked to this icon over here, these two call messages. So if you can see, right over here, an example, you can see that these digital signing signatory alert will reflect in your inbox as well. So now in the topic on, before we go back to the bell icon, since we are in this message as well. So in your messages, the messages that's in your inbox is coming from the notification, whereas on your outbox, on the other hand, these are your alerts when you're sending documents directly from CAS 360 using our email tool. So CAS 360 allows you to send your company changes documents directly from the software to your client instead of having to download the document out of the software. And if, for example, whenever you send the document from the software to the client's inbox, it will automatically prompt you whether the email has been sent successfully to the client. You also get a notification, for example, if that email that you sent within the CAS 360 email that you sent to the client has failed, and it will indicate to you the reason or the status of that email. For example, this one, email suppressed due to bounce back, and you can preview the content of the email that you have sent. See, and this is an example of an email content that you can send to the client. For this scenario, I sent a email with the digital signing link as I have switched on my digital signing and send it to the client. But because the client's email is not valid, so it bounced back. So therefore, CAS 360 has notified me that this email sent to this client has failed. So that's for the outbox, and any pending documents or notifications to be sent out, especially when you're doing a document review. This one I'll send, I'm gonna show to you a little later, later as well. It will be posted under your pending outbox. So any upcoming alerts as well, if you have set up a bulk reminder to your clients, let's say it's an AGM document reminder as such, and it's scheduled to be sent to your client, you will be able to see it under pending outbox as well. All right, so going back to this bell notification icon. So in the bell notification icon, it will also allow you to subscribe for an email to be sent notified to your inbox from CAS 360. So under the settings, you have over here a button. So by default, it will be switched off, receive email reminder from the software, CAS 360. And by simply switching the toggle button, this will enable you to select what kind of alerts that you like to receive via email from CAS 360. Whether it's, for example, annual returns date has passed, or annual returns, companies with annual returns that has been processed, meaning you've exported the document, but you haven't filed it as it's not in the record within the CAS 360, or also other things like your financial year end approaching, or the companies with FYE reaching, and so on. So you can toggle the buttons or toggle which ones that you do not wish to receive notification for. And you can also select whether you like to receive notification based on daily emails. If you want daily you received, you can select which day that you like to receive. You can receive, if you want, you can also receive it as a daily, and select the time of the day that you want to receive this email notification. For my case, as you can see in my earlier default, it's on Tuesday, Thursday. So every Tuesday and Thursday of the week at 10 a.m., I will receive an email from CAS 360 notifying me all these companies with these status. You can also select filtered entities based on the whole firm or only your favorite labeled companies. This one's I'm going to cover a little bit later. Whole company or both. Now that's for filtering the email. Now in here, receiving email daily, you can also filter based on a weekly or fortnightly. If it's a weekly, let's say every Wednesday of the week, you can you like to receive the notification. You can simply select which of the day in that week that you want to do a bulk reminder, or every fortnightly as well. Once you're happy with that, you can simply save the settings. So this is how we subscribe for email subscription reminder from CAS 360. So before I proceed to any questions so far on this tool in your notification icon? All right. If there's no questions, now I'm going to go straight into the next topic, which is setting up your registered filing agent. So again, a very gentle reminder, if you want to go through more content, more more comprehensive content in each topics, you can always go to the link over here. You can just simply go through that as well. So earlier on, we were discussing about our email subscription. So now we'll go to the setting up of registered filing agent. So this can be found on your page 26 if you are referring to right now on your page 26 of the manual. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to set up your registered filing agent onto the software, particularly important, especially when you want to purchase business profile from Accra onto the software. So the reason why it's required for you to put in your RFA, but for Singapore specifically, the Corp Pass, is because Accra needs to know which service provider is purchasing the data directly from their database onto the software. So unlike Accra, which you have to go and log into the page if you want to purchase a business profile, it will allow you to download a PDF format. In CAS 360, through our integration with Accra for the search registry, you can download a company's information in both data format and PDF format using our search registry or Accra import tool. So I'm going to talk about this in lesson number 2. And I'll just want to go back onto the topic on your registered filing agent and how is it related. So I've just explained earlier that you will need to set up your registered filing agent before you can even start purchasing a business profile. All right. And some couple of prerequisite informations when you're setting up your registered filing agent onto the software is that you need to make sure that your SingPass assigned or registered in your company's Corpus has access to these respective digital services with Accra. So to find out more, just going to open this link. So these are the digital service. So if you're familiar with corpus, if you want if you want your SingPass to have rights to access to government information or government portal, you need to request your company's corpus administrator to give your NRIC rights to access on behalf of the company through corpus. So for CAS 360 specifically, particularly with purchasing business profile, this is very, very important. Otherwise, if you try to purchase the business profile on behalf of your company using the corpus and your SingPass doesn't have the rights to access that, then you will not be able to purchase it. So going back to CAS 360, to set up your corpus onto the software is simply going to your settings tab and selecting lodgement agent. So you can see over here, I've got a different example over here. And you can just simply click add agent. Automatically, it will select Singapore. Here, what you'll need to do is you'll have to type in your organization company name. If let's say I'm CAS 360 Singapore Private Limited, can just select that. So you can add in your registered address of your practice. These parts you can just ignore these parts and simply save only or save and authenticate. Now, just gonna quickly show to you as well over here. So when you are also creating a new record, so as you can see that this record is already automatically there. You can recognize it in my global contacts. But however, if, for example, I've got a company, let's say ABC, and it's not in the record, you can see it doesn't show any drop down. You can simply create that record by simply clicking on to create new. So within the software, CAS 360 allows you to create the new record of information on the spot. For this case, it's a new record of contact, this company name, and I can just simply set that up. So this is, let's say, maybe I'll create ABC. So this is not just limited to creating company contact, but also an individual. So this is an example. Let's say I am using another corpus account under ABC, for example. I can just simply select that. So once I've created that record, this ABC Company Private Limited will automatically save in my global address so that in the future, if I want to use these contacts record to attach to multiple companies or multiple clients, you can just simply select that in the drop-down option. So again, you can just put in your further details. Another example I have over here. And if you need to edit the information, you can simply click on the option button and select edit to revise the information that you have. So what you also notice that in the lodgement agent settings is that we have this button here, authorize agent. So when you first set up your lodgement agent or your corpus information onto the edit registered agent page, it will allow you to save only or save authenticate SingPass. So I think right now for me, I want this will not redirect to Accra. You can see it's no longer available. The API is no longer available, but just gonna show to you how it will look like when you try to request for authorization from Accra to access. So essentially, once you've clicked Save and Authenticate, this will bring you to Accra's request for permission page. To access their API, simply click on Yes. All right. And the grant to CAS 360 access to connect to Accra will be given to you within 30 minutes time frame. So something that I need to highlight as well when you're doing this process, because I can't, unfortunately, my account no longer has access to across as this is a demo product. Essentially, when you're logging into Accra using your Corpus, you will receive a notification over here with your expiry. So it will show to you the time frame that you're allowed to access. By default, it's 30 minutes. If you notice, if you're logging into Accra's website or any government website, a strict rule of thumb is 30 minutes time frame. All right. Once you've got already logged out after within, if you've logged out after the 30 minutes time frame, you will notice that you will receive this notification alert not authorized with Accra. What that means is that you've already been kicked out by Accra. Your time frame is up. So you need to reauthorize your agent again to access to Accra's database to for it's very reason whether it's your purchasing business profile and such. So don't be alarmed with this if it's not authorized by Accra, even if you've already set up your corpus. This is to simply notify you that your time frame to access to Accra is up, so you'll need to reauthorize the agent again. So going back that, so you can see over here that once you have once you've reached your expiry and you need to reauthorize, you need to access again, you just simply click on Authorize Agent to log into their API services. Now, going back to that, this is particularly important as well, especially when you're setting up a company. Right over here, you can see that you can select the filing agent under your general details within your software as well. So previously, we do have a CAS 360 has the ability to do some lodgements like your annual returns or even your XBRL. So when you're processing or using XBRL to prepare the XBRL for this company, this step is very important. You need to make sure that you assign your corpus details for each of the company you're preparing XBRL for. So just take note of that. All right. Any questions so far for these for registered filing agent? Okay. All right. So I'll go to the next topic. This will be on your to your page 30 of the manual if you're in your manual right now. The next topic in your lesson 1 will be inviting users and managing your role settings. So when you're first starting the software, it's very important to invite other team members to log in as well, especially if you're working as a team and there are multiple stakeholders accessing to the software. As an account owner, you have the rights to have the ultimate rights to invite or select who to invite to access to the software. So it's the account owner's responsibility to manage the account on the users accessing the software and controlling their admin rights or role rights onto the software. So again, going back to the top right corner of your CAS 360, select your app switcher and select users. This will open up a new tab and will bring you to the main page. So you can see this is your company name, and this will show your profile. So in your user's account page, this will allow you to also view your MFA. When you first started using or when you first receive your welcome to my BGL email, it will prompt you to not only set up your password, but it will also prompt you to set up your MFA, which is your multi-factor authentication. So you can see I have both SMS or an authentication app. Generally, we always recommend to use a authentication app. This is a much more safer method, especially with the case of a lot of scams and all that. It's best to use your authenticator app as your MFA. To find out more how to set up your MFA or edit your MFA, and also some of our your facts and questions, right? Let's say you need to reset the MFA. You can do that as well. If you want to disable the MFA, if you've stolen the phone and you, how do you disable the MFA? This is a very useful resources. So I'm gonna just share these content as well in your in the chat. Kindly make sure to have a look at this. This is very important because, of course, for security reasons, you want to make sure that you've set up your MFA right. If any event, for example, that you lost your phone and you need to immediately disable your MFA, we have some help guide available for you as well. A very good practice is always also notify your account owner if there's any incidents of a stolen or lost phone and you have your MFA there, or your SMS or phone number has been compromised. Make sure that have a look at your MFA step. All right. So going back over here, so this is the MFA. I'm just gonna go back because this is probably another article as well. Any questions so far on the topic of MFA? So this will be a better article as well. So I'll share this link so you may think probably ignore the ones that I've just sent in the webinar chat. Kindly use this link instead, as we have much more comprehensive guide on how to set up your MFA by authentication app or SMS. Okay, going back to the CAS 360. Right. So again, we're gonna just go back again so just close this for now. So going back to your user page, again, in your user page, you also have the app switcher available. So this will allow you to switch between CAS 360, My BGL, and also your user page. So on the left-hand side of your user page, this is where you can also change your firm name or even your password. So if you want to change your password to access to the software, you can always click change password over here. And this admin is particularly very important, especially when you're inviting other users. To invite other users, especially if you are the account owner, you can simply click on invitation. And this will show to you the list of companies, or rather the list of team members that you have invited onto the CAS 360. To invite other users, click on invite users, type in the email address, first name and last name, and most importantly, this portion over here. So my PGL and portal, you can select the user role for each. So for example, in my visual portal, if you only wish for that particular staff member to only be a normal users, then they will have limited rights that they can do within the my visual portal. Similarly, for CAS 360, you have different types of um, user roles. You have accountant, admin. If you want to assign your staff member as the secondary admin as well, you can just simply click as admin. You can invite multiple users as you want and simply click invite. After which they will receive two notifications. Email one is welcome to my BGL and the other one is welcome to CAS 360. If the user is unable to find welcome to my BGL, for example, he or she will not be able to access to the software. So because again, we're gonna go back on what I've mentioned earlier on, you'll need my BGL is your very beginning of setting up your account, which includes setting up your password and also setting up your MFA. Without this process, the other user will not be able to access to the software. So just a good gentle reminder. All right. So this is how we invite other users. Now you can also manage your other users as well. Or before we can do that, let's say you have already invited other users. And you can see right over here as an account owner or account of admin, you will see who has joined, who has accepted that invitation, and who has not joined into your company's CAS 360 account. So if I want to, for example, re-invite another user, I can simply click on re-invite. Now, something also to highlight when inviting other users, the welcome to my BGL and welcome to CAS 360, these links for them to activate will expire within the 5 days, or I think it will be 10 days. So it's best to always flag to your team members that you've sent an invite and immediately accept the invitation so that they can be able to access to the software. Once expired, for example, you can no longer use the old link from the welcome to my BGL email. As a user, you will need to notify your account owner to re-invite you again onto the MyBGL and CAS 360. The reason why there's an expiry is because for security reason, you don't want, of course, we do not want these emails to be sent over to wrong email addresses or goes to a different hand that might not be safe. So there is a expiry on those activation links. So make sure the moment you receive this invite from your account owners, make sure to quickly click on and set up your password in it. Otherwise, you can again request for you to invite again onto CAS 360. Right? So this is how we invite the users. Now, in the section of your admin as well, you have the ability to manage your users and your role settings. Before I go to a topic of role settings, I want to put your attention in the user manager. This is particularly useful, especially if you are the main admin of the software, because this is for you to help you do your housekeeping matters, especially if you have team members that no longer with the company and you want them to have no access to the software at all. To do that, you can simply click on, let's say, an example over here. Let's assume that Katrina has left the company, and you can see which applications and software they have access to. So I've got over here an example because I'm the main administrator, therefore I am the account owner for both CAS 360 software and my BGL portal. And I have assigned admin Andy as the secondary user admin. So you've got admin over here for CAS 360, admin for my BGL. Now, if I want to change the settings of the role type that Andy has, I can simply click this particular user. So this information will expand, and I can click on show to show to me what type of user role does Andy have. So you can see over here, he's an admin. If I want to limit the admin rights for Andy, I can simply select as accountant, for example, or assistant. All right. Similarly for my BGL as well. You also have the ability to show if there's any activity log, if when they did log into the software using the activity log. Right. So this is important if you are the main administrator and you want to change the role setting, you can simply select the show and then expand out the show and then select the different role type for that particular contact. So going back to your admin tool on the left hand side, we're going to select the role settings to show you how to adjust what you can or can do based on the role setting that you have selected or you have set up. So by default in CAS 360, you have the ability to adjust the role settings available. So for my BGL, you have your default billings, normal, and training only or user only. If you want to have for example, your own customized role settings, you can simply click on add new roles, select create the role. Let's say, for example, accountants only, and you can select or disable which items that you do not wish them to access. So for example, the accountants only, I do not want them to have the ability to create contacts in BGL or even edit or cancel product, for example. Downgrade the purchase or purchase new product. And I can simply allow my accountants to either download invoice, changed the product detail payment method, list the debit direct products, edit the direct products, and so on, and click save. So if there's any, for example, somebody left the company and the information of that person is still there. If my user role is only accountant only, I will not able to do these items over here that has been disabled. So now in my BGO, I will have not only my default, but also the accountants only role settings. Similarly, in CAS 360 software, you have the ability to create your new roles. Again, type in your role settings. And adjust the type of things or settings that you want for that particular role type. So I use an example over here. So I've got in my drop-down options quite a lot of role settings I've created. So here in the example, if you have a team allocation, and team A, for example, they only have a very limited amount of actions that they can do within the software. This because me as an account owner, I've adjusted what are the items that they are not allowed to do. Like, for example, Team A can only do and view company registration scheme, company selection, and so on, but they are not able to customize template, prepare this company documents, company changes documents. They're not allowed to edit search registry, or let's simply they cannot use this tool at all without the account owner's permission and such. So you can customize what you cannot do for that user using by creating a new role type. So another example over here, I've got team B. So again, similarly, I've had these adjustment. The only adjustment I've added is this any user that has a team B role settings, he or she will have the ability to edit the company data. So this is how we create or manage our role settings on CAS 360. All right, any questions so far for role settings? All right. So if there's no questions, I'm gonna go back again to my app switcher and select my CAS 360. So close all this application just so to give you a bit of familiarity in how to navigate your app switcher. So this will bring me back to the main dashboard of the software where you can see all the company. So the next lesson that we're going to go through is on your page, your lesson number 2, page 33 of your manual. Lesson 2, loading companies onto CAS 360. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to incorporate a Singapore company and prepare the supporting documents, including your pre-incorporation documents and post-incorporation documents. We're also going to learn how to import company data from Accra using your search registry import tool. So when you're first starting companies and you want to manually add in a company, you can simply go to the main dashboard to your company tab, select company selection, and it will show to you the list of companies that you've migrated, or if you've just started using the software and you haven't added in any company, it will show as an empty list. So to manually add a company, you can simply click on Add Company and select Add a Company. This will prompt you to set up the basic information. For example, let's say XX Firm Company Limited, the UN number, incorporation. Can also put in the financial year end. Your filing agent, and you can skip this part. So once you've saved that, this will automatically save onto your CAS 360. It will show to you the company. Now, because you have more information that you like to input onto that company, you can simply click that company to select. This will bring you to the company's profile. Inside the company, you have different tabs over here. This is where you can input other informations like your addresses, officers, shareholders, company info, and such. In these tabs as well, this is very important place where you can not only record the information, but also process or export out your company changes documents. So I'm just gonna go back to the main company list. All right. And in the main dashboard, if you want to select or search for that company that you just set up, you can simply use the search engine in your company selection to quickly search for that company that you've just set up. So that's the manual way of importing or onboarding your client's information onto CAS 360. Now, going back to the lesson, just going to refresh this for a moment. Now, on your page 33, or rather 34 onwards of your manual, this will cover on the much more detailed exercise on company registration. So another scenario that you can add a company is when you have a new client that engage you as a CSP to set up the whole company registration in Singapore. And within the CAS 360 software, we have a tool under your company, next to your company selection, called company registration. So company registration allows you to process the company registration information and prepare your pre-incorporation and post-incorporation documents. So here I'm going to select company registration and select my jurisdiction. Here, once I've selected my jurisdiction, click continue. This will bring me to the roadmap of information that I need to add in for this company registration. So for example, right now, I'll just put in 17 company. Private limited. And 17 June. Company. And you can select the type of company type. The type of class. Financial year end date. And also select your financial year end periods and primary activities. So for example, I'll type consulting. So in your activity code as well, CAS 360 has the ability to provide the SSIC code. So for example, here I've got, let's say, information technology cybersecurity consultant. If you have any description, for example, right? And you can also add in multiple your secondary activity, for example, consulting. And then you can again add in your description. So once I've done that, you can simply click next. This will bring you to the next stage, which is filling up your address. Now, if, for example, along the process, you don't have all the information required to register a company, you can always close, save and close to save this record for you to work on it later on. So you can see over here, not registered yet. We have pre and post incorporation documents, pending for preparation. And let's assume that you have more information from that client about their plans to do a registration of a company. So to do that, simply go to the options and select edit. This will bring you back to the registration roadmap, and you can see that it will also flag you which are the items that's missing information. So for example, over here, I've got my addresses that's missing. So I'll need to select the address that a registered address for that particular company. Then I can just click next. This will bring me to my next, or rather go back to my next item. See here, I've got my officer. So I'm just gonna quickly select an officer. I'll have over here Veronica Tan. So you can see, because this contact is already stored in CAS 360, so it automatically pulls out the information and details of that particular contact. So this is particularly a useful feature, especially if the contact has multiple companies, and also if you are the service provider or the official secretary for multiple companies and you already have a record, you can simply select from the drop-down option. Similarly, if the person is not in your record, let's say Alexis, for example, I don't have the contacts of Alexis. Again, what we've done earlier, you can simply set up that by clicking Add New to set up the information of Alexis. So I'm just going to quickly create Alexis information. You have the ability to also adjust the name layout, whether it's first name, middle name, or surname first, followed by the first name. So I'll just put in my dummy information. So we're just going to use this as a sample contact. Birth details. Let's assume Alexis is Singapore. For example. Nationality and IT type. It's very important and also a very best practice when you're setting up the contact. As much as possible, you fill up all the information, especially for ID of the directors and so on, because for Singapore, you need to make sure that you have a local Singapore citizen or local representative for that company. So I'm just gonna put in Singapore ID. If it's a permanent residence, you can put select PR. If you have any other ID, you can also select that as well. But I'll just select a default and also your address. So I'm just going to put in some random address. Again, if you have an address that it's not in your record, similar to your the contacts, you can also set up a new address. So this is my record right now. I do have quite a lot already saved. If you can't find that address in the record, you can simply click on Add New. This will automatically prompt you to create the address as well. So with the address as well, something to take note when you're creating a new address. So our address book is linked to Google address. So when you type in the address, you can see it's search street name powered by Google, search building name powered by Google. So it will search the Google address, right? So for example, if I type in Tong Building, you can see I've got a Tong Building over here. Now, what's the only thing that's here right now is that unfortunately the Google address linked to us right now is it doesn't have the ability to pull out the building information instead. Okay, because sometimes the building might change along the way and so on. But what it can do, it can identify the street name. So for example, if you want to type in the Tong Building, you can just type in Tong Building. And instead of selecting the options from Google address, simply put your mouse over here. You can see, click on the space so that this will now be converted into free text. It's no longer from the Google address. It's just a text, a normal text as it is. So you can put in your 03 postal code and so on, and click save. So these address will automatically get saved into your CAS 360 address book. So I've got already Alexis sent, so communication details has not been entered, so you can just enter that part as well. And you can see I have my contact's address. And click save. So here I'm appointing, so we're doing everything from the scratch, adding in the informations so that if you ever encounter having to set up all this information in CAS 360, it's very seamless as well. So now that I have Alexis Chan's information over here, I can now assign the type of position Alexis has. So for this case, Alexis is the new director for the company, and click save. So I can continue adding in my other officers. So let's say I'll have Jenica Gunn. This one has already a record, and I will assign her as a secretary. So we'll just quickly add a couple more directors. So I'm gonna just select David Dunn as my director. You can also change in your, whether by default it will select as attendee. If it's a chairperson, for example, I can just put that in and click save. So next, on to the whole registration roadmap. You can see you have to fill up your shareholders. So again, similarly, simply click on the add shareholders and you can start selecting. So again, if the person is not, or the shareholder is not in your list, you can create another contact. I'm just going to simply add in the same similar contacts that I've just created. You can select your share class type. So I'm just going to type select ordinary shares. So I'll skip the subclass. So by default, the currency is Singapore. If you have any other currency, you can simply select that. Number of shares, I'll just put in 100. By default, it will follow certificate number 1. So let's assume I have this particular person has let's say rather there's no issued share capital by this particular person. So this is if there is no issued capital, you need to make sure that you put a figure, because otherwise, if this is empty, it will prompt you to have essentially what happens is that it will prompt you if there's no figure, for example, right? That it will prompt you to add in a figure. So even if it's a 0, there's no issued share capital, make sure to put in 0 in order for you to save that particular share transaction. Okay. Now, next, click on to the auditors. So let's assume that this company doesn't have any auditor yet. And click next. So you've got your constitution. So based on the company type that you've selected for this company, it will recommend you your model constitution. Otherwise, if you do have your customized constitution, simply select your customized constitution and upload your document file. So I'm just going to put like that. Example. Let's assume this is my customized constitution. And in your finishing line, this will give you an overview of what are the information that you have set up for this new company. This is to give you a preview before you even save and prepare the necessary incorporation documents. So here I'm happy with what I have set up for the company. Let's assume that all this information are correct. And you can see that this is my constitution, customized constitution. So now I can save and prepare my pre-incorporation documents. So once I've saved and prepared, this will bring me to my page called document production. So document production allows me to prepare all the necessary document that I need to process depending on the type of company change or transaction I'm doing in CAS 360. So for example, for instance, what we're doing currently for this company is an incorporation. So we are incorporating 7-Gene company. And for this case, CAS 360 will then prepare the documents for an incorporation of a company. This will include your company registration summary. This is to give you an overview as well. And this is also a good way for you to use as a declaration form for your client when you're onboarding your client. You have your consent to act as a director. So our consent to act as a director has now been updated according to the latest changes in June that has been rolled out in June. Similarly, for your Form 45, this has been updated as well. So what you'll also notice is that in the forms, because of the information that you have set up along the process of incorporation within CAS 360, this will automatically pull out the data. For this case, this is the secretary that we've just set up within the system. It pulls out Jenica's GAN's information and residential and contact, and also the NRIC. So it saves a lot of time when it comes to filling up the forms. You no longer have to fill up the form manually, you can simply set up their data and select the type of change you're doing for that company. So for this case, we are processing a incorporation. So I've got my consent to act, right? So these documents as well are customizable. I'll cover this a little bit more in level 2 on Thursday. So for now, I'll just show to you what are the documents. So as you recall earlier, I've uploaded my own model, my own constitutional documents. So these will be attached to my pre-incorporation documents. Now, I've also noticed that we have a couple of documents that have been disabled. These documents are what we call the ACRA forms. So if your firm, if your practice is still using the ACRA forms, you can simply switch on the toggle button over here. By default, in CAS 360, all the old ACRA forms has been disabled. It's essentially these informations is already in your company registration summary. But if you still want to, let's say, generate these documents, you can always switch on the documents. This is the applications of share, as we have one shareholder for this company as well. Now that we have all the post-incorporation documents, so we are now ready to export or prepare this document by simply clicking download all or send. So for this exercise, I'm just going to quickly select download all. So form signatory, I'll just have Alexis. You can also adjust over here. So I think I'm just going to close this one over here. All right. And the moment you click on download, this will export out the document and save onto your computer. You have a copy of these exported pre-incorporation documents. Now, let's close that and I'll come back to my company registration. So if I were to type in this company, so you can see right now, 7 June. Again, you have this option to search. You can see 7 June. Now the status is no longer not registered, but awaiting for registration. So CAS 360 automatically recognizes if you export a document, meaning that you are in process of registering this company. So this automatically changes the status into awaiting registration. So on the left-hand side, so to be able to see what are the different status and which are the companies that, for example, not yet registered, you can again go to your advanced filter on the left, select not registered, and this will show to you the list of companies that's waiting for registration. Similarly, for all the companies that you did the process company registration through the CAS 360, it will list down for you as well. And prepared by me. So I'll just filter down to my non-registers. You can see I don't have any I haven't registered these companies yet. So the good thing about in the whole process in CAS company registration is that we do not charge you for a company that has yet to be registered. So you can process the pre-incorporation of a company using CAS 360 documents. So if I were to go back to my company selections, my list of companies over here, and I type in 17 June, you can see that it's not in the list, meaning that this company hasn't been registered yet. Second is that it hasn't taken up my license in CAS 360. Okay, so just take note of that. All the awaiting companies over here, all this not registered yet, they haven't taken up the license slot in your CAS 360. Now, once I've done that, so let's assume that I can process my that I've registered this particular company. Now, some practices prefer to process or generate out both pre-incorporation and post-incorporation. Now, in CAS 360, the rule of thumb and the process, or the much more compliant way uh, based on ACRA's compliance procedure, is that we need to make sure that a company is already registered before they can even process a post-incorporation document. So if you wish to process, for example, both pre-incorporation and post-incorporation documents, you want to export that out, what you need to do is you need to make sure to mark the company as registered. Now, if the company hasn't been marked as been officially registered, what you need to, but you want to process the post-incorporation documents, is you need to make sure that you add in a dummy number. Example, this is my dummy number. Dummy UN, this is the incorporation, and proceed. By doing that, this will, CAS 360 will enable you to generate the post-incorporation documents. You can see right now you have your first director minutes and resolutions. Again, so these documents can be customizable. You've got your notice of EGM, your share certificate, and your registers. And earlier on, as because we've uploaded your constitution, this will also you will also be able to see the uploaded constitution in CAS 360. Now I'll just close this first before we export out the document. So if I were to go back to my global search and I type in June, you will now see that this company is already in my CAS 360 license. Similarly, if I go here and I type in 17 June, you can see it's already in my license list. So it means that it's taking up the space of my license in CAS 360. Now, if the scenario is if you're, let's say you've already got the registration confirmed from ACRA, and you have the official UEN number and all that, you can simply click on to that company, enter the profile of the company, and change its official UN numbers. If you have the UN number, example, you can just add in, let's assume this is the UN number, all right? And don't forget to select also the registered filing agent. If you have a different incorporation date as well, let's assume incorporation. I'll just assume that this is my incorporation and click save. So that when you processed your post-incorporation documents, Let's go back to the main dashboard by clicking company, select company registration, go to that company for that 17 June company and select post incorporation. So that when you process your first director minutes resolution, you will have the correct UAN number pulling out from your database. Right. So I'm just gonna, now that I have all this information, all right, and you will notice that you have one missing document, which is our opening of bank account. So I'm just gonna jump straight to one of the documents, one of the processes, which is in one of your in the manual, but I'm gonna go straight to that. So in the 7 June section over here, to prepare the resolution for opening a bank account, you need to make sure that you also added in the bank account information other in your relationships. In your relationship, you have the ability to add in not just your bank account, but your auditors, your liquidators, other positions, and also your data protection officer. But for this exercise, because we want to be able to process or export out your opening of bank accounts, I'll need to set up a bank account details in this company's profile. So I'll just type in DBS Bank, and then June corporate. Can add in branch details if you need to, account number. So just type in the bank. If you have any additional details, add in here as well, and click save. Right. So now that I have these data information stored in the company profile of 7 June, I can simply again go back to the main page, the company tab, select company registration, and locate 7 June company and select the post incorporation documents. So you can now see that these particular document, opening of bank account, minutes and resolution, is now included in your pre or post incorporation document pack. So you can now export out the full document as well. So I'm just gonna type in one of the addresses. So I'll just select a random address over here. If I do not wish to have my meeting time and date, I can simply switch off the toggle button, leave the document blank, click save. This should be all good. So I have a couple more valid, so I don't have any address. So the reason why there's no address here, because something that I'll need to highlight as well. In your, when you do the registration over here, let's say I go to my 7 June, it doesn't really have a addresses just yet. It only has the registered office address. So I'm just gonna go back to my to company registration and go back to 7 June to make sure that all these documents are true and correct. And I have a couple more. Right, so I had to fill out the meetings, addresses, and then click download. So this allows me to download the full set of document pack for a post incorporation, which will also include my opening of bank account. So you can see now that also the status of 7 June company has now changed to registered. Okay. So any questions on the company registration in CAS 360? All right. So if there's no questions, so the next process or how we can onboard a new client, if let's assume that this company already has been registered with Accra and it already has an existing record. A very seamless way to onboard a client is using our what we call the search registers. So these information or content, you can find this on page 47 onwards of your manual. So we're going to learn how to import a company data using our search registry in CAS 360. So in the main page, again, in the company tool, go to this various tabs. So on the third tab, you have over here, search registers. So in the search register, if you have used this previously to onboard a new client, you have the ability to view the historical searches that you've done for within the CAS 360. You also have the ability to filter the dates of all the historical searches. So I'm just going to change one of my historical search. So I don't at the moment. And you can see this is an example of a companies that are recent search. So because again, my account is a demo account, but essentially if it's already downloaded, it will be in your historical search. So when purchasing business profile through CAS 360 from Accra, you can simply click on the search registry tool and select the jurisdiction. So for this case, only Singapore and Australia at the moment has the ability to purchase the company information directly onto Accra. You will then be prompted to inform you that these particular features is a paid service. This will have the ability for you to search Accra's register and purchase the business entity extract. So the Accra register is particularly to change it's your business profile equivalent. Okay, not so much of your historical registers, but rather it's your business registration details. Similarly to your business profile, when you purchase a business profile of a company directly to Accra, it will charge you a fee for charges. Now, before you can even use these features, you'll need to make sure to click to select click here. This will bring you to the instruction of how to import company data, which will include setting up your payment method. So if earlier on, if you recall in my BGL, you will need to set up your my BGO in your my BGO payment details for you to be able to use. Now I'm gonna save and share this particular this link into the webinar chat so you can have a look at that as well. And this is also the instruction on how to set up your payment method. So I'll share this link as well so that if you want to use this tool, this is a very important step for you to enable you to use our search register ACRA import features. So again, so let's see I've already set up my payment method. So I can now click on continue. Once you've set it up, this will allow you to now do the search and download. So here I've got Singapore and I can select or search based on a UN number or by name. Let's say if I were to type in rainbow, for example, it will show to me all the companies with a company name Rainbow. Okay, so this is coming from Accra's search. So once you've located the company that you want to purchase, simply select extract. Now you can also have multiple companies or download bulk of companies. So for example, if I were to, let's say earlier on, I've put in Rainbow. And I've also want to search for another company. So you can extract as many as possible. You can select. So by selecting this company, by clicking it, extract. So he hasn't exactly extract yet, but it will simply list the companies that you want to export. Now, because I've listed out 4 companies, you can see that in your confirmation button, it will update as confirm purchase, as in the notification per extract of data from Accra directly onto the CAS 360 will be $40. The extract will include a data format of the company's information so that you'll no longer have to manually type in the information onto CAS 360 and a report format, meaning a PDF version of the business profile. So I can simply confirm the purchase. So this one I'm not confirming as it will charge my card. But essentially, this will allow you to purchase the business profile of the company, and it will then appear in your recent searches. So all your recent searches will show all the purchases that you have done in your current calendar month. Okay. If you haven't, you can see over here, I've got a pending ones, for example, over here. Will show you the pending, and at the end of the months, it will show to you the outstanding, and by the next calendar month, your card will be automatically charged based on what you have purchased for the previous month. And all the previous searches that you have done from the previous month will be then moved to your historical searches. So this is how we purchase business profile in CAS 360. Now going back to these, so you can see this is a sample that we've got. So when you purchase the business profile, it will show to you in the dashboard the UN jurisdiction, the search date. This is essentially the day that you have purchased, download and purchased the data from Accra using our search registry tool. It will also show to you whether you've imported this data onto your license. Now, a very quick tip as well with the search registry. If let's say, for example, in a scenario that you just simply want to purchase the business profile of a company just for your just to view and it's part of your process, for example, but you're not sure whether this client is engaging you as the service provider, for example. So this particular tool is very helpful for you to purchase purchased the company registration without having to completely onboard them onto your subscription license. Once you have confirmed, you've made an agreement with your client that they would like to engage your services, you can simply click on option and import their extracted data, ACRA data, onto CAS 360. See, for example, over here, I've got an example. So you have an option whether to overwrite. So I've already have an existing record of this company on to CAS 360, so I can just simply overwrite. So importing, if you've already have purchased the company, for example, right, and let's say you have purchased them previously and you made a mistake or there's a lot of incorrect information stored in your company selection. You want to start from scratch, for example. So this is the scenario. You can simply re-import it back. Now, re-importing doesn't charge you if you've already purchased the data and you want to re-import that, that purchased data, we will not charge you for it. Okay, so you can re-import as many but it's just simply going to import that what you have purchased as of that date. However, if you, for example, you want to uh, purchase the latest version of the company's information directly from ACRA itself, you'll again have to go through the whole process of purchasing the business profile using our search registry tool. So just going back to the loading companies over here, just quickly, as I will not be able to demonstrate for you. Now, what are the informations that we can provide, for example, in CAS 360? So this includes based the downloads and the extract, right, from ACRA onto CAS 360 will be similar process like purchasing a business profile from ACRA's website. Okay, so it will be based on your search date, which is also based on the purchase date, and provide all these key information, including your company details, your current registered officers, shareholders, and so on. Do note that this tool, the ACRA import in our search registry, does not allow you to purchase the historical registers of the company. So because this is a very different fee, as you know that it's about $25 to purchase historical registers. So these we do not have this feature available at the moment on CAS 360. What we can do is allow you to purchase a updated business registration profile from ACRA and onto your CAS 360. So if I were to go back onto that company over there called Clover, for example, this company here, all the company's information will be then updated. All right. So these are the records from ACRA and the seamless way. This is a very seamless process to onboard a company when you already have an existing record with ACRA. So you can see that I've imported it. I no longer have to type in the officers, the shareholders, or this my new client. I just simply need to purchase it from Accra, and Accra will provide me a data format compatible for CAS 360. All right. So any questions so far for company imports? All right. So we'll take a very quick, a 15-minute break. All right. So if you need to go take to the washroom or also take some calls and all that, we'll do some quick break, and then we'll resume again to the next topic. All right, I hope everybody is back from the short break. I'm just gonna close these ones. All right. So we'll continue on to our next lesson, will be lesson number 3. So now we've covered on getting started and also adding in the companies. So now that we've added in the companies, we are now able to manage your company's informations and also different types of company changes that you can do in CAS 360. So before that, I want to just also go through with you this particular feature. It's still on your um, in your lesson number 2 because I didn't manage to go through that, but this is a very quick feature that to help you organize your companies, especially if you have much more bigger team in your firm or in your department, and you want to assign this company to respective team members. So in CAS 360, we have what we call company labels. Company labels allows you to assign companies to multiple departments, group them up into departments or account managers or respective person to be managing this particular client. And in your company selection, you will see right below on the advanced filter, if you scroll the way down, we have this called manage labels. So to add in or assign a company to a particular department or to a particular team member or staff, for example, you can simply put in, let's use this company, for example, the 7 You can simply go to the main dashboard and click on the pencil icon, select add labels, and let's assume I want to assign this particular person to myself. Okay. So June 17 June company is now will be handled by the user Jennifer P. So as a user, for example, if I were to log into my account and I want to only view companies that I'm handling, I can simply click onto my labels over here, and this will automatically filter companies under my label. Similarly, if I were to select other labels, for example, CorpSec service, you can see that this is the companies attached to that label. So this is a great way for you if, for example, you have a bigger team and you need to assign respective companies to each team members of your team using a company label. Now, to manage your company labels, simply click on Manage Labels. And if you have, for example, want to be able to see what are the companies under company sec team A, you can see we have 23 companies assigned to team A. Similarly, let's say if I want to know companies, if I'll just untick here, right? Companies under Marianne, for example, you can see this is the company that's assigned under Marianne. Now, if, for example, you have the team member has left the firm, so for example, my team member Jason has left and he's handling this 15 June company, for example. He has left the firm and you want this person, another new person to replace Jason and took over his account or the companies he's managing, you can simply click on edit label, select Jason, for example. So Jason has left and I will just simply relabel the name to the new staff member. Let's say Connor, for example. So all the companies that are under or tagged to label to Connor will be now under Connor. So this is how we managed our company labels. Now, so the next topic that we're going to cover or lesson is our topic and lesson on company addresses changed. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to update the address of a company and make the necessary documentations and resolutions for a company address change. In this lesson also, we're going to learn how to navigate on the location of the registered CAP and also manage your contacts and addresses in CAS 360. These, for those of you currently referring onto the manual, this content and lesson can be found on page 56 onwards. Now, first, we're going to learn how do we update a registered office address. So in CAS 360, we will select the company that you want to do a address change. So we'll use the same company that we've just created. 17th June company over here. And in these tabs, we're going to select addresses. So in the addresses, it will list down your registered office address or any addresses that you've record. For this case, because you've just set up this company just recently, so it will only show the registered office address. Now to change the address, simply click on New Addresses and select Registered Office Address. So here I will select a new address. I'm just going to select one of the existing addresses that we have right now, effect and change. And you also have the ability to apply this change of address to your business, postal, meeting, and location of the registered CAP, which will include the location of your registrable controllers and nominee directors. So simply switch on the toggle button right here and click Save. Because CAS 360 recognized that this company 17 June has went through a change of registered office address, the system will automatically prepare the resolution and documents required for an official change of registered address for 17 June. So here on the right bottom of the screen, you have prepare forms. When you click on prepare forms, it will show to you the summary of the change. So for this case, the summary on the left-hand side, the change of address to Upper Bukit Timah. And in my document pack, you can just simply see what are the documents. You have your company change summary, which is a very useful report. You have a summary of the change, and you also have director minutes and resolutions. Again, this one can also be customizable, but we'll stick to this format first. So once you're happy with that, again, you can just simply download the document, or you can also directly send it directly to your client. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to automatically or send it directly to your client from the software to their inbox. To do that, simply click on Send All. And you can see I've got this document over here. Now I'm just going to close here one more time because my digital signing is currently switched on. So digital signing will cover this a little bit more on Thursday, but for now, we'll just do a very basic sending of the document without a digital signing switched on. So I've got over here, this is my documents. I'll send it to the client. And in this email, it will also attach the PDF document. So I can simply click on send, and this would be sent to my client's inbox. So if you recall earlier, when we're going through the message page as well, all emails that's sent directly from CAS 360 to your client's inbox will be saved under your messages and outbox. So you can see right over here that under emailed delivery successful, you can preview what was the email content and also the attached document, which is the change of registered office of this company. So if I were to look at, so just quickly look at my inbox, just to give you a bit of idea how it will look like in your client's inbox. So you can see right over here that let's assume this is the inbox of your client, and this will include the PDF attached document prepared by CAS 360. So you can seamlessly send it directly to your clients. A default email will be the no reply as CAS 360, but it will appear your name, your full name that you have registered with my BGL will be showing as your full name. Okay, so that's how usually this is how it will look like. So just quickly, if there are any questions on this so far? All right. Okay, so going back on this section over here, I'm just gonna quickly going back to CAS 360. So this is how we can send document directly from CAS 360 to your client's inbox in our document production. So going back to the document production, now that I have changed address, the registered address, if I were to go back to my company's profile and click on addresses, it will now show as Upper Bukit Timah. So it used to be Cecil Street, now it's Upper Bukit Timah. You also have the ability to show the historical addresses of that company. So you can see it was the Orchard. So it's not Cecil Street, it's Orchard, and it's Upper Bukit Timah, which is the current address. Now in CAS 360, you also have the ability to update the location of the registers. This is particularly useful, especially if you're processing the annual returns for the company, and you want to make sure that you've indicated the location of the nominee shareholders and registrable controllers. So by default, when you're preparing the annual returns in CAS 360, it will select the registered office address as per the settings. If the location of your register is different, it will display based on the location that you have set up within the addresses page. So an example will be at right now. To change the location of the register kept, simply click on new addresses and select location of registered kept. So here, what I'll do is I want to change the location of the registers kept for my for registrable controllers and nominee, for example. So I will just select maybe Changi this address, and instead of I can choose to apply it to all my registers, but let's assume I just want to change for our RORC and also nominee directors. So once I've done that, click save, and you can see over here that the registrable controller's location of its registers is now been changed to Changi Business Park. So any change here, if it's not based on the registered office address, if it's a different register location, in your annual return process in CAS 360, it will display this address instead. All right. So that's how we processed the change in CAS 360. Now, any questions so far? Now, before I proceed, so if there's no question, I'm gonna go back to our navigation toolbar. So the next tool that I want to go through in this lesson is how do we manage our contacts and your contacts and addresses. So it's very common that contacts information changes quite regularly, particularly on the passport, residential, or contacts addresses. So this can be found in your contacts, right? And in your contacts, you can locate global contacts and addresses. So again, on the left-hand side of the screen, you have the ability to filter based on an individual, companies, other entities, and such. So we do have the BGL ID as well. If you have already tested out our BGL ID features available in the software, you have the ability to also filter based on your AML verification or whether AML failed. So for this training, I won't be covering this topic at the moment. We'll be creating a different content specifically for BGL ID. But for now, if you have any, if you wish to be able to process or try out our BGL ID feature, feel free to play around with it as well. So coming back to the individuals, the context, I'm just going to show to you how do we manage or edit the contact of a person in CAS 360. So I'm going to select one over here. I'll use my example. And you can simply click on that contact that you're searching, and this will bring you to the profile. So you can see it will show to you what are the information that I have recorded for this contact, including my contact's address, my postals, residential, and passport details. If the contact doesn't have all this information, you can simply, again, go to your contacts page. Let's say Alexis. We've created Alexis earlier on. And you can see these are the information I have recorded. So so in this exercise, what I wanted to do is to add in a contact address for Alexis. So what I can simply do is click on information and select addresses. This will allow me to select the address type. For this case, we do have your other addresses, postal and such. So currently I already have a contact, so that's all right. If I do have any, let's say I wanted to add in her business address, I can just add, and this will be included into my list as well. Similarly, if I want to add in Alexis' passport details here, this will be under your identification number. You can select a passport details, add in the passport number, and issued by as well. So in CAS 360, when you're managing the information of a contact, you have the ability to edit these informations as well. So for example, if the contact has changed its passport, for example, you can simply select those information or text in blue, which is in a hyperlink, and simply click that. This will then allow you to edit the information on the go to simply change the details. So I'm just going to simply change the passport detail. Let's assume I made a mistake and click save. If you want to delete the record, for example, I've decided I don't want to display the business address as well, I can simply click on delete. So it's very easy to update the changes of the context information by simply going into the contacts and clicking in the contact, the information in hyperlink blue to quickly change the information. All right. Any questions about contacts? All right. So, okay. So for the annual returns, I will not cover this today. This is not part of the lesson number 1. This will be on your in your training level 2, which is on Thursday. If you haven't registered again, please do register it through your My BGL portal. All right. So any question on this particular topic before I proceed? All right. If there's no questions, I'm gonna go back to my global contacts. And again, similarly in the global address, you have the ability to edit the information by simply clicking on the edit. So this for here, global address is a little bit different when you managed or edit the information. You can just simply click on the edit, the option and select edit. Whereas for a global contact, you will need to click the edit first and select which information that you want to edit by selecting all the text in hyperlink blue. All right. Now, a very good tip in managing your contacts is locating any duplicates. So in your contacts filter, you have this feature called Find Matches. So Find Matches allows you to match companies that or contacts that has a similar name address or similar name only. So an example of a match by name only, you can see that I have a contact that has a similar name but different address. So this is very common when you have, for example, a similar name, but the address is different, the ID is different. So which means that might either that person is a totally different person from each other, or this is the same person, but using a different identification information. Right. So this is how we you can find the matches. And a rule of thumb is usually this is much more of a useful feature, a match by name and address. This is to accurately see if this contact is a duplicate or not. Now, before you can even select which to keep, a good practice is to see which are the contacts that is attached to multiple companies. So this person over here is an officer, has an office holding relationship with this company, where this one is a shareholding for CAS Training Company Limited. So depending on your discretion, select the ones that you know it has more accurate information and it's assigned to the correct companies, or rather more accurate information. Similarly to your global contacts, you will have a chance to see there are sometimes duplicates addresses. If you want to be able to filter if there's any duplicates, you can see right now I don't have any duplicate, but if you have duplicates, it will match up for you what if you have a duplicate record of an address. You also have the ability to see which addresses is not in use. You can see that this address is not attached to any companies or contacts in CAS 360. So I can simply delete that address so that I don't have any confusion or anything. Now, going back to your global address, also something that I want to highlight is that in your global address, before you amend or even delete, always do a bit good practice to see if this particular address is attached to multiple companies or contact. To do so, you can simply click on the mouse over in use by 24 records, and you can download the full usage report of that address. So this address has been used to these companies in various situations as like a company address for nominees, a contact address for Andy Tam, and so on. So this is how we manage our contacts and also your addresses. So the next exercise that we're going to go through is your officers changes. So now that we have set up a company, we've also set up officers within this 7 June company. So you're now ready to process a company change, or rather an officer change for 17 June company. So again, in this, you're going to select 17 June company as an example. And here we will select the officers tab. So based on our company registration that we went earlier on, we managed to set up our officers. We have 2 directors and a secretary. So to appoint a new officers, select add officers, and you can simply select a new officer for this company. In your officers page as well, you have the ability to not just select a director, but you can also assign CEO, managing director, secretary, or if this contact is both a secretary and director, alternate, and also your nominee director. So if you have a nominee director for this company, this can be set up under your officers page. But here for this exercise, I'm just going to select as a very basic one first as a director and click save. Now again, because CAS 360 recognized that you have applied an official change for the company, which is an appointment of James, automatically CAS 360 will enable the prepare forms for you to prepare the necessary documents. So you will have your resolutions, director minutes and resolutions. And you also have your registers. So this will, depending on the kind of change, for this case, an officer or appointment of officer, CAS 360 will prepare those documents for you. So you also have your consent to act as a director, your members' minutes, and your consent to. So you can now simply, again, send it directly to your client if you wish to, or you can just download the PDF if you're more comfortable with that. So now we have the appointment of James Chan today as an officer. Now that we've done an appointment, I'm also going to show to you how do we resign or remove a officer in the company. So again, similarly, under your officers, you will see the status of each of the officers. To remove the officer, let's say we have a remove David Tan, for example, you can simply go to the status and select the drop-down option as resigned. Automatically, CAS 360 will enable your option to tick and also the cease date. If the cease date is different, you can simply change the cease date as well. Otherwise, if you're happy with this selected cease date, you can simply select the check option. And again, this will automatically create the resignation documents for you, including your resolutions. You can see now that this director is no longer attendee and has resigned. So again, this one can be customizable. So currently right now, our templates are very basic and simple so that you can add your own text. So this will cover it on the level 2 on Thursday. So again, I'm going to just download that so that upon downloading these documents, this will prompt your software that you apply this change for the company. So if I were to filter my current, for example, you can see that my current, there's only 3 officers as of current. And if I want to filter based on all officers, David Tan will appear in the list. So this is how we changed the officers in CAS 360. Now, before we move on to the next lesson, so I've already done the bank accounts. These information is under also the lesson number 4, which is opening of bank accounts. So earlier on, we've processed that under your relationships, which allows you to prepare your opening of bank account resolution on your CAS 360. So now that we've covered that earlier, so I'm just going to jump right into lesson number 5. But before that, any questions so far for change of officers? All right. Now, In CAS 360 also, you will also notice that in each of the documentations, you will see this print toggle over here. So in the software, you have the ability to reprint the change of the company change you have done. So for example, if I were to want to reprint the resignation of David Dunn, I can simply switch on the toggle button on and off. This will enable my document again to process that document. So it's very seamless in a way that, you don't have to redo the whole process of adding in the information. If you already have the information, simply switch on the print toggle to reprint that company change. All right. So that's for officer changes. Now, the next lesson I want to cover is on your lesson number 5, members changes. So in the members changes, we're going to learn the different transaction available in CAS 360. This will include your allotments of shares, transfers of shares, and we're also going to learn how to process your nominee shareholders and registrable controllers. As you process this, we'll also teach you how to use different functionalities that you can find in your document production, including your automated document deadline reminder, sending a reminder to your client about the document, and also reviewing a document before sending it to your client using our document review in your document production page. So you're in the same company. We are still in the profile. Again, to navigate, you can simply just refresh, simply type in the company that you want to work on, select onto the company, and select for this exercise, we will select shareholders tab. So you can see right now we already have a existing shareholder based on the company registration process we've done earlier on. And what we're going to do is we will allot a new shareholder. So here in your add transaction, they have different types of share transaction available for you, including your subscription, share transfer, cancellations, change of beneficial owner, and so on. So for this exercise, we're going to learn how to allot a share. So here I've selected allot shares. You can customize or you can edit your transaction date. I will retain it as of today's date. And I'm going to select a new shareholder. So here it will you will select, once I've selected the contact, again, it will display the information of that shareholder. And here in this section, you have the ability to also create your beneficiary owner. By enabling this button, you can set up your beneficiary over if you have for this particular company. So this is where you set up your beneficiary owner. Otherwise, you can simply switch off that toggle button if it's not necessary. Again, select your type of class. I'm just gonna skip this part. Or otherwise, if you have a specific subclass, you can simply select your subclass as well. By default, it creates a Singapore currency. And I'm just going to put in basic number. You have different types of share payable as well. I will select cash by default. And let's assume that I have amount of issued share capital for this person. Meeting status. And as you scroll down along, you can see certificate details. Simply click on that. This will enable you to see the certificate details. Because this is a allotment of share and it's a transaction, and ultimately it will follow the subsequent sequential order, which in this case, it will be a certificate number 2. If you wish to add in the location of the certificate, you can also add in that. And if your practice or your firm adds in or follows a unique number, you can add in a unique numbers. But for this case, I'll just keep it as it is. All right, so you can see that I have now allotted, we have new shareholder allotted 100 shares and fully paid. You can simply also view the status of that share. This is total amount paid. And you can see that the print toggle hasn't switched on, which means that we have applied a new company change, which is allotment of shares for Jennifer for the company 7 June company. Here I'll prepare the documents again on the left-hand side. It will be the summary, which is allotments of shares. And in here, because it's a share transaction, it will prepare my register of members, the share certificate, my applications of shares, my allotment journal, and also my resolutions. So again, also a company change summary. So each time you prepare a change for a company, CAS 360 will create a change company change summary report for you to as a report and also an overview of what change has occurred. So again, I can download this document and export it onto my computer and can simply use my email on my own Gmail, for example, to send across these PDF file to my client. And again, as mentioned earlier, you can also send it directly from CAS 360 if you want it more to be much more seamless with the process. So as you can see right now on the left-hand side of my CAS 360, the share class chart has now been updated. So now we have 2 shareholders. One has ordinary shares, the other one is another ordinary shares. And as you scroll down, it will also show to you and display the different types of share subclass. Right. So we'll do another exercise, another one, for example, another transactions, but this time now I'll select another person. So, and I will select preference shares. So again, let's assume we don't have any share capital here. So I'll need to still make sure that I put in 0 on this field. And automatically it will show share transaction certificate number 3. So what happens is that you can see right now that in my charts, we have ordinary shares A, and a preference shares. And similarly, you can generate the necessary allotments of shared documents. All right, so that's how we do a allotment of shares. Now, the next exercise in this lesson is we're going to learn how to transfer a share and also use these tools within the document production called automated document deadline reminders. So again, selecting your add transactions. And here we're going to select share transfers. So let's assume I want to transfer Alexis share to a new shareholder. So here I'm just going to put in the details. And in this section over here, certificate number 4, something to also take note, you have ability to change whether you want a balance certificate or none. So by selecting none, the certificate number 4 will automatically be issued to the new shareholder, which is Jennifer. If you do a balance cert, for example, what's going to happen is that certificate number 5 will be issued to the new shareholder instead. And a balance certificate number 4 will be issued to the transferor. So let's assume we'll do this, select the balance certificate. And here. So you can see right now, again, we had documents. So I have Alexis transferring out in his shares to Jennifer or 50. And you can see that the print toggle has been switched off. The prepare forms has been enabled. So let's have a look at the transaction. So on the left, you have your summary. And because this is a transfer of shares, so we will have the share transfer form available instead. You've got your transfer journal. You also have your resolutions. And your share certificate. Now, if you recall earlier, again, we've done a balance certificate. So what's going to happen is that the balance certificate is issued to Alexis Chan. And the certificate number 5 is issued to the new shareholder, Jennifer, if you have selected that as a balance cert. If you do not wish to have a balance cert, you can simply go to the options, click edit, and edit these transactions. So automatically it will go to the new transferee. Now going back to the document production. So now that I have all my documents for a share transfer, before I want to process this, I also want to set up a document deadline reminder for these transactions to my client. To set up the automated deadline reminder in your document production, for your document download all and send all, you will see that we have a up arrow button over here, right next to your download all and your send all button. Simply select that arrow up, and this will allow you to not only send this document, but set up the automated document reminder to remind your client about this document. So this is what I have downloaded, prepare from CAS 360, and automatically this will allow me to set a automated document reminder to remind the client about that document. So I'm just going to put in my email address. You can set the automated reminder, whichever you want. So I'm just gonna select today's date just to show to you how it will look like in the inbox. So now it's 5, I'm probably gonna put at 10 p.m. We have a document template, click save, and you can set as many reminder up to 6 reminders to remind the client about that document. So if I were to go to my message, you can see that in Outbox, I have a pending in progress, delivery in progress. This is what I've scheduled to send to my client. I should be receiving examples. So here in my, let's say in my client's email, this is how it will look like. Again, this part you can customize the content, and this wasn't a document deadline reminder, and with the attached document. This is to help you keep track and also send reminders to your client about those documents that you've prepared. All right. So going back to the same company, so any questions in the transfer? Otherwise, I'm gonna go jump into back to the shareholders. Now, now that we've learned the different share transactions, so in CAS 360, you have the ability to process your nominee shareholders and also registerable controllers. And these process can be found under your shareholders tab. So you can see that in your shareholders tab, you have your registerable controllers and your nominee shareholder. Now, for this exercise, we're first going to learn how to process a nominee shareholder. So again, in your shareholder tab, select the nominee shareholder button and add in your nominee shareholder. So I'm just going to select, for example, Veronica. For example, nominee shareholder is Alexis, nominator is Veronica, and additional notes can be added here as well, and save prepare. This will then create your register of nominee shareholders. Now, before you can export, and let's assume that you want these to be reviewed to your managers. So in the document production page itself, we have this option called flag documents to be reviewed. This is to allow me to send it to my manager to review these documentations before I process it for my clients to sign and confirm. So here, I'll just simply select it to my inbox first. Let's assume that this is the email address of my manager, and I can add in details. So please kindly confirm that this is the correct information. So what will happen is that as the reviewer, which is your manager or the head of the department reviewing these documents, they will also see what notes that you've added for this review. So once you have done that, you can see that you have a send all button. I'll just switch off this first. Send all. And before it gets sent out to your client's inbox, for example, this will first send to your reviewer's CAS 360 account. So let's assume I am the reviewer now. I'm logged into my CAS 360 account. I will receive, as the reviewer, I will receive a notification in the documents to prompt me to review the documents sent by one of my team members. So I can see over here, I have, please kindly confirm on the informations are correct. I can simply click on review documents to review. And if there's any informations that my staff or my team member needs to amend, I will just need to give her the instruction on what needs to be updated. With Veronica passport details as it's expiring soon, for example. And I can simply approve or reject. So once I reject it, let's assume I've rejected this as the manager or the reviewer. Let's go back to the interface of the team member who prepared that document. So as the preparer of the document, you will receive a notification to notify you that your document that you sent to your manager to review has been rejected. So to view the rejected document, simply click on View, and this will show to you and bring you to your global documents with the note from your manager that please change the passport detail as expiring soon. The status of the document, it has failed the review process, and you can simply go to Option, Attachments to view what was that document you've prepared that it had rejected. So that's how we processed a document review and also the nominee shareholders in CAS 360. Now, going back to the same company, so the next exercise in the same and still in the members changes is how do we prepare the registrable controllers in CAS 360? So again, in the similar tab shareholders, you can locate these button called registrable controller. Now, before you can process the documents, a prerequisite is that you will need to make sure that you enable this toggle button if this company is required for maintaining a registrable controller register. So generally in most local registered company, it's required to maintain the registrable controller register. By switching on this print toggle, this will allow you to not only print, but also add in the data for the registrable controller documents. So first, you need to add in the registrable controllers. So here, I'll just type in Jimmy Tan. You can add in the notice sent, notice confirmation, and save and prepare. So you can see over here in this section, you will have your document pack. So you have your registrable controllers registers. You will also have your confirmation letter. You also notice along the way that you don't have the notice. So to prepare the notice, I'm just going to simply download these first. All right. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my registrable controllers. and select Print Registrable Controller Documents. So here it will prompt me the notice of registrable controller, generate a notice to send to the registrable controllers, switch on toggle button, and select the type of notice. You can also add in multiple notice if you're required as well. Otherwise, we'll just prepare one notice first and click prepare documents. So here you'll notice not only that you have your register for registrable controller, the confirmation letter, but also the notice type that you have selected for that registrable controller. So again, just simply click download or send it directly to your clients for confirmation and signature. To view the details of your registrable controller for the company, simply select registrable controller and select view registrable controllers. So this is how we processed a register of registrable controllers in CAS 360. So the next lesson that we're going to cover is on your lesson number, lesson 6, on the page 108 onwards of the manual. So we're going to learn how to prepare a company name change for a company. So with the similar company, so we're going to go back to your company tab, and we will select the same company that we've just registered, 17 June. This will bring us to the main general details. To change the company name and prepare the documents, simply select your name registration tab. And you can see over here, this is your current registered name. To change, simply go to your add name and select change company name. So here you'll have a prerequisite as well. And let's assume that I want June 17th, for example. You can also just simply select the prefixes as well. You can just select right that. Resolution date. And simply save and prepare. Again, this will bring you to your document production. This is the summary, change of the name. You'll have your change of summary, changing from to June 17th training company. You have your resolutions for change of company name. You've also got your members minutes and resolution. If you require to process also members of short notice, you can process that as well. So again, I can simply switch on download this document and send it across, or simply send it directly to my client from the CAS 360. So going back to your name registrations, you will notice that this effective date is currently pending. So this company name is pending until approved if received from ACRA. And you also have the ability to remove this pending status by simply going to your option tab and select pending or remove pending status. So here in this section, once you have added in, just going to add in a details over here. Effective date will be on the 18th. So it will be now June of, the name will now be changed to June 17th, 18th, training company. So if I were to, for example, search for 17 June, it will show as a previous company. But if let's say I search for here, for example, 17 June, it will no longer display that in my company section selection. So what I'll need to type in is June 17th, because that is now the the new name of the company. So previous name is 17 June and the new name is June 17th. So any question on this particular topic? All right. So I'm going to speed up a little bit so that we have more time. So the next and the last topic of today's session will be on your page 112 onwards of the manual, called the Global Documents and Company Documents. So for the past couple of hours, we've known that we have been processing different company changes from your company registration to changes in the officers to share transfers in CAS 360. And as you process documents out from the software itself will automatically create a folder system within the software. All these documents will be saved under these two called documents. In CAS 360, all the documents that are processed are stored in the global documents. So you can see right over here, all the other rest of my companies that I've processed documents for. Now, there are two ways of navigating documents. If you want to easily view the documents processed for a particular company, or for this case, 7 June, you can simply go to its profile, and under your Documents tab, you will be able to see the overview of all the documents prepared for this particular company only. So you can see that we have done a company registration, post incorporations, company address updates. We have also done different director changes, share allotments, transfers, registrable controllers. We've got also nominee shareholder that has, we've rejected, and company name change. To view the documents, basically here, you can simply go to the Option tab and select Attachment. This will allow you to view all the PDF files that we've exported, prepared, or sent to the clients in CAS 360. So if you recall, this is the process that we have done for company registration. So this has already been stored in a folder system within the profile of June 17. In CAS 360, you also be able um, change the status of the company. So by default, when you're preparing a company, it's automatically prepared on the following on this date. So we've prepared this document. To change the status, for example, if you've sent this document to the client, we can simply click on this the status and change to send to client, for example, and click save. Now, once I've clicked saved, it will automatically change the status. And in CAS 360, you have the ability to view the whole historical record of that document. To view the historical track, simply go to Options and select History. This will display for you your document prepare, the timestamp that you prepared this document, and the person who prepared this document. You'll also be able to see that the timestamp when it was sent to client. This is to help you keep track of the journey of each of the document you prepare for the client and do the necessary actions if you need to follow up and such. Similarly, in this one of the documents that we have rejected, this is the document that we've rejected. If I were to look at my historical transactions, my history, you can see that this has been prepared by the staff, sent for review on this time, but it got rejected by the reviewer. All right. So now the next step for the prepare is to do the necessary updates and change, and then send it back for review again to the manager. So in in the CAS 360, your documents tab, you also notice that there are different types of share transactions. You can see they have multiple share allotments that you had. To be able to know exactly which transaction that has been processed for this share transaction, share allotment, for example, is to simply go click on the one change to expand, and this will give you the description of these document and the transactions that you've done. This is to help you keep track of what is this share allotment that has been processed, who exactly did for the allotments of shares. And again, in the options, you can see what is that document inside that. Now, each of these files, so as mentioned, whenever you export out or send the document directly from CAS 360 to client, it creates a folder system automatically onto the software. So you have a copy within the software itself. Each of the folder will also have a trace numbers to help you keep track that in the trace number 1114, this is the share transaction documents that you have processed. Now, going back to the global documents, so you can see in the global, it shows all documents across all my companies. Now, in the global documents, one of the few key features or differences in the global documents is that in the global documents, you also have the ability to see what are the other documents that were sent for review. You can filter based on whether this pending for review, documents pending for documents that has passed, and document that has failed. So if you are a preparer and you have rejected documents rejected by your manager, the head of department, and you have rejected. So you'll need to make sure and be alert to do the necessary changes for these documents. Now, going back to the global documents, you can filter the documents as well based on the categories of the filter. So let's say you want to be able to see all documents that are signed digitally by your documents. This is particularly useful, especially if you're ready switch on the integration of your DocuSign, Adobe, or FuseSign within CAS 360. These ones, I'm going to go through this in level 2 on Thursday. But essentially, it will help you to filter which clients who use digital signing or sign digitally, and which documents as well. So you can see that, again, similarly in the historical trail, it will show to you when it was prepared, when it was sent to client, and when it was signed by the client. So you have over here also electronically signed as sent to client. So these are documents that you've signed using the digital signing. You've sent it directly to the client with digital signing link, but it has yet been signed by the client. Still pending for signature. Now, in the global documents, one of the key tips to use is that it helps you filter bulk documents across all the companies. So, for example, if you're searching for registrable controller, the documents for registrable controller, you will be able to find that in the filter. So with the global documents, both global and company, you have the ability to upload external documents. So for example, if you select upload, it will prompt you, is this an existing company? By default, it will be yes. You can select, let's say we will select the same company, 7 June, and then type in the company, the document name. Would say this is like the name of your document file. Can signed onboarding agreement, document status. So you can simply document receive, and you can just upload any document. So just upload some random document here as well, and click save. So that in my document file, you can see over here, if created a file number, and I can see inside that folder, the document that, external document that I have uploaded. Now, coming back to this advanced filter. So in advanced filter, you can filter based on your company name, trust agent, company document type, and so on. So for example, if I want to see all my my annual return documents, for example, that I've already exported out from CAS 360, I can simply click on that and apply the filter. So you can see these are all the documents I have prepared, right? And it also shows to you the status as well. I have manually filed this particular client's document, right? So it's all good. So you can see that documents that has been manually filed, it will automatically change the incorporation or the important key dates. So just a very quick one before we go. So the key dates in CAS 360 as well, I think this is something I've skipped, So that when you're maintaining the key dates, it's very important to always make sure that in your general details, your company dates are up to date. Right. So I'll cover this a little bit more in lesson level 2 as well, because these dates are very important, especially if you want to utilize or make use of what we call our smart alerts. So smart alerts allows you to notify you as the preparer, the user of CAS 360, the upcoming annual return due and AGM. Right. So going back to my global documents, again, advanced filter. So you can have different types of advanced filter. Let's say also status. If I want to see all the document processed, and document void, for example, if I have any, just apply. And you can save this filter as well. So if you use this filter commonly, you can simply create a save filter. So for example, if you here, new filter, I can select the status document processed and document void. Save this filter as pending, for example, pending documents and void. So you can create a so that when you're doing some search, for example, you don't want to go back to unticking and ticking those filters. You can simply go to your advanced filter and go straight to your save filters. So right over here, click save filters. Here I have quite a number of filters. Here I've selected pending documents and void, apply and filter, and automatically it will apply my saved filter. Right. So this is how we do a documents, managing your documents in CAS 360. So these features as well can be found in the company level as well. So if you were to go to your that same company, for example, under documents, you also have the ability to apply the save filter. So you can see it won't show so much because we're only searching in this specific company. So filters, usually a good practice. This filter is much more useful in a global filter if you're filtering across all companies. So if I want to see all company changes, it will show to me in here. Based on company changes document, it will filter company changes document. All right. So any questions on the documents? All right. So I have some few questions in the Q&A section that went through. So one of which is we do have question on change of passport or NRIC. So in the whole generic process or standard practice processes in CAS 360, currently we don't have any change of passport or NRIC resolutions. What you can do is you can use this in your what we call freeform. So these freeform is to help you process ad hoc documents, ad hoc resolutions within the system. We're going to cover this topic a little bit more on Thursday to help you how to set up your freeform documents, resolutions, letters, and forms on save in CAS 360. I hope that answers the questions. So unfortunately, we are not able to consolidate contacts that have the same names and details, but appeal multiple under different companies. So the only way you can really do this, for that matter, is when you look at, for example, a company. Let's give an example over here, a contact. You won't be able to consolidate per se, but you have the ability to see if this contact is in use to multiple companies and in what level are they used for. So this is the only time that you can view it. But in terms of consolidating, same name but appears in multiple companies, in different companies, we can't really do that. The only way is to view it here, or what you can do is just simply find match. If they have these, for example, so I think this is the closest that you're probably asking, is to find match based on name and name only, for example, and see if this name only is attached to this multiple companies. I hope that answers the questions. And again, for the annual return parts, we will cover this on level 2 on Thursday. So we'll talk about a little bit more. So for this session, we'll cover more on really the basic changes in CAS 360. Any questions so far? All right, so if you do have any questions, feel free to post it in the Q&A section. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me on this session. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through our live chat support, also support ticket, or you can also reach out to me via email. We'll be happy to answer your queries as well. So for those of you who haven't registered for the level 2 session, please feel free to do so via your My BGM portal. Thank you so much and have a great evening ahead.